Technology, it makes you lazy, it makes you dependent, it makes you sleep less. But it's not that bad. It's not bad if it can help disabled people or amputees live life better. On that note, 2 years ago, Bengaluru's robotic genius Sidhant had created India's smallest robot. 2 years later, he's grown taller and now he's created India's smallest robotic arm. Now, this robotic arm has a host of features. To start with, and my favorite, it makes great tea. Well, as it makes tea, let me taste if it's a great tea maker. Doesn't make me feel like playing tabla, but let's see what else Siddharth's robotic arm can do. A Mega 328 microcontroller along with 6 micro servo motors connected with a mini breadboard and jumper cables. Alright, it's not as fascinating as a sports car, but what if we tell you that this prototype could one day emulate a human hand, conduct bomb disposal, perform surgeries from thousands of miles away and change life once and for all? Sidhant Gupta, the creator of India's smallest robotic arm, believes that robotics is the future and India needs to start supporting robotic engineers more than robotic movie producers. So what are his plans towards empowering the world with his robotic arm? Here is the story of Bengaluru's BOT'MAN. Sidhant has always done well in his academics, but unlike his peers, he always converted his learning in the classroom into practical science models. From a young age, Sidhant was bitten by the bot bug and has been creating various types of robotic models which performs various tasks. Whether it is a sensor eyeball moving robot or a fish feeding robot, Sidhant has constantly been involved in creating simple robots to do simple tasks. 2 years ago, he created India's smallest robot which could walk, dance and kick a ball. This robot was also recognized as India's smallest bipedal robot by the Limca Book of Records. But it seems like Sidhant has now taken things to a whole new level by making India's smallest robotic arm. This robotic arm is a type of mechanical arm, usually programmable with similar functions to a human arm. It is designed to perform any desired task such as welding, gripping, spinning, etc., depending on the application. The robotic arm can lift small objects and place them. It can run a variety of functions and is capable of highly dexterous movement. Sidhant feels that such a technology is restricted to industries, and the reason he created a small robotic arm was to give the common man the benefit of robots.
The thing about technology, I feel, is that you always need to adapt, right? And today, robotic arms as such aren't available, to the general public. They're very big, they're dangerous, but what I've basically tried to do is scale it down, right, and take it out to something where everyone can use it.
One look at the robotic arm and you would know that it has a lot of wiring and chips installed for its effective functionality. Though it is just a prototype, Sidhant has still used some of the latest technologies to create this robotic arm.
Bottom, it looks like a CD. It is a CD, but basically the idea is it's a base, right? So that the robot stays put. It doesn't lose balance while it moves around, does fast motion, that kind of stuff. Apart from that, there are a total of 6 axes on this motor, on this motorized robot, where each motor forms one axis, right? And it helps the robot move along one sense of direction. So these 2 motors here form the shoulder. This one here forms the elbow, and these 3 combine and form the wrist and finger, right? So using that, and it's got a standard gripper, which means you can basically pick up all kinds of different things. It doesn't limit you, just like a human hand, right? And it all runs on a 80 mega 328 microprocessor board, which is programmed in C++, which is a fairly common programming language. And yeah, it's completely automated. You can run it off AC power. It's even got a port for an adapter. So you can just plug it in, it's plug and go.
While it looks very cool to see a robotic arm making tea, one would wonder how it really works. Whether it is moving, picking, dropping or mixing, Sidhant explains how this robotic arm is programmed to perform tasks.
All the robot actually does in theory is take a bunch of coordinates and perform a task at those coordinates, right? So the advantages of something like this is it's very easily adaptable. So for example, as you'd mentioned, amputees or disabled people, this can really change their lives. You could attach it to their accessories that they're already using and make it easier for them to feel things and use things. And another feature with this is you can always attach a sensor or 2 to it, and you can get haptic feedback. So the moment the robot picks something, a little vibration somewhere will inform them that an action is taking place, right? So because of that, it's haptic feedback, and they too can feel the same way the robot feels.
This prototype is designed to perform simple tasks at home, but Sidhant confirms that if it is converted into a bigger and more advanced robotic arm, it can also be used for bomb disposal and perform surgeries from thousands of miles away. The possibilities of the robotic arm are limitless.
But as far as what it could do as a robotic arm, again, it's limitless, the possibilities. So you can actually have surgery conducted from 5,000 miles away via a robotic arm just like this, right? You could feed it over the internet, as I was talking about, and a doctor sitting in, let's say, the United States of America can actually run the arm 5,000 miles away, and he can get haptic feedback as well from the robot, from its sensors, and help him conduct operations.
Maybe this is why Sidhant has chosen to pursue a different stream of engineering which deals with concepts of software and hardware. Sidhant will now fly to Hong Kong to study the same course after he won a scholarship to pursue his robotic interests. He explains more about what his future study plan is.
In India, generally what you do is either computer science or electronics, right? You don't actually get a course which is between those, right? And so the course I'm doing is something called computer engineering, which is interesting because it combines both, right? The thing for something like a robot, you need both the software bit and the hardware bit, right? Which is both computers and electronics combined. So for robotics as such, you need to have both. And in India, opportunities like this just aren't available. They're very, very few and very, very limited. So yeah, that's basically what the course is doing.
Sidhant also feels that India focuses less on robotics and hence few students know about the untapped field. He feels that students have to be a little more adventurous and should start choosing other streams of engineering.
Indians have the intelligence, Indians have the capability, Indians today have the funding, everything they need really, right? It's just that I think it needs a little bit more encouragement, it needs a little bit more passion. People need to start looking into robots as a mainstream thing, right, to do, and I think that'll make all the difference.
Sidhant is not sitting on his laurels and is already working on his next project. He speaks to us about the latest trend in the world of software and how things will change drastically in the future with machines and robots.
And basically I'm trying to develop a bunch of projects using the Internet of Things, right? It's a very interesting concept. Basically, the World Wide Web today is used by people. So there's another bit of the internet called the Internet of Things, which can be used by machines. And you can connect in, for example, even this robot to it and feed data off that onto any screen you want worldwide, 24/7 accessible. And you can feed back data into the robot to make it do things. And the idea being, so let's say you integrated with this, the family of the amputee or the disabled person or the paralyzed person can see what's going on. They can get feedback the same way he gets feedback from the robot.
Sidhant's story is just a small reminder for students who study to pass exams or earn degrees. Sidhant signs off with a message that everyone has to chase their dreams and work towards them with a practical approach.
It's your passion that drives you forward, and with today's internet, it's like your capabilities aren't limited at all. So I mean, you want to do anything, it's a matter of reading it up for 10 minutes on the web, and you have 50% of everything you need to know about it. So yeah, I think my message would be, go out there and follow your dreams.
Technology does make humans lazy, but if humans like Sidhant play with technology, anything is possible. Sidhant is now off to Hong Kong to learn more about robotics in the next 4 years. We at News9 hope and wish that this robotic genius from Bengaluru returns to serve the nation with his robotic inventions. With camera person Madan, Vivek Vinayak, News9 Bengaluru.